Hello guys, welcome to the Water Closet Podcast. We're back again for another episode. We've got Jonna here again.
Hello.
And we've also got George with us as well.
Are you alright?
So I guess let's just get going. How's it going? What you been up to?
College, work, same old party last night.
I was going to say, you said partying before we started.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
Yeah, work. Worked up in London on Friday before someone's leaving due. It was a bit messy at the end.
Any decent stories?
Probably not ones that would want to get back to anybody. Had to put somebody in a taxi because they'd whited out, and we'll just leave it at that.
Decent. I mean, I've done fuck all, so just procrastinating.
Sounds buzzing.
So, I guess what are you actually doing at the moment, George? Are you at college or?
Yeah, I'm at college. I'm studying animal care.
Animal care.
Yeah, I'm on my first year, hoping to get on my second one, and then university after that.
Is it structured like that? So you do 1 year, 2 year?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what are you going to do at uni? You're going to carry on the same sort of stuff?
Yeah, I've been looking into animal science, animal biology, stuff like that.
Is like veterinarian the end goal or what?
Hopefully, I mean that's what I'm aiming for. If not, I've got a couple of things I can bounce back on, but that's my main aim.
Yeah. It's more ethical than what I'm doing.
It's something I wish I'd done. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about animals. I feel like you should kind of learn a little bit more about that in school, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a documentary the other day about Big Cat Sanctuary in Kent. I looked at the website afterwards and I was like, what do I need to do to work at this place? And then I realised I need to do what you're doing to work at somewhere like that, and I'd have to retrain and it would take years. So, yeah.
That's the problem though, isn't it? Like, that's what I face. I've built up such a career in IT. I've been doing it for 8 years. Yes, I could start from scratch, but then it's going to put me behind on my life goals, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't restart. I think, it's perfect when you're starting out 16 to 18, maybe even 16 to 20. You spend those 4 years working out where you want to go, and then you take it elsewhere. I mean, like we had Giuseppe on previous weeks, and I know that he's been through various different trades, and now he's sorted himself out and he's 21 and now he can go and make a career out of it. But if he gets to 30 and wants to start again, he's not going to start on the same wage.
CAD's good though. It's interesting. It's something that I've done in the past as part of an engineering diploma, and it's very creative. And through talking to him, he does seem like more of a creative than an academic. So I think he'll do all right.
So
with that.
CAD is a computer aided design for those people who don't know. And I guess you could probably tell more about it.
3D modelling. So essentially, if you wanted to build a racing car, you could build it on a version of CAD or AutoCAD before you actually built it, to make sure that it was aerodynamic and that it was actually going to work as a racing car. Just a way to test out designs before you actually go through with them. It's decent.
And I noticed you got yourself a girlfriend recently as well. Won't go too much into that, but is she on the same sort of page as you? Like,
she's doing journalism at college.
Okay.
Hopefully she'll take that further because that's a good trade to get into. I think a lot of travelling involved.
It's quite dynamic as well.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many routes. My sister done media journalism at university, and she's worked. Well, she worked at the time within the cocktail leisure industry. She was a mixologist, and she eventually found a way to merge the journalism with the leisure industry, and she was essentially working at a head office for a leisure group, and she was selling venue space, but she got to use her journalism stuff because she would make advertisements and she'd be all over their social media trying to get them business and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of different avenues for her to go down.
And I want to get Hayley on, as I've keep badgering you.
Yeah, I'll mention it to her.
We need a female guest. We need an interesting female guest on. You know.
We need a feminine point of view for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we've got yours, but
Fantastic.
but yeah, no, we do. We can't. I don't want it to be all male. I mean, I know it's going to be majority male, but I would like some lady views.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah. But I guess, all right. Well, what I wanted to get George on for really, is when he was younger, he had quite a devastating incident or accident involving a vehicle, and we just kind of wanted to talk about that sort of thing, what happened before and what happened, after, what happened in between. And obviously John's been through some similar sort of things in the past, so I think this could be quite deep, to be fair. I mean, I guess let's just get, like, I'll just ask the first question, like, what do you remember of, like, your scenario? What sticks out the most?
Well, I mean, everything sticks out really. I remember when it happened, I remember after it happened, and then the process, like healing process. Overall, it was the worst time of my life really. When it happened, I was with two of my friends, going to school actually, and I was at a little island crossing the road, and this Arctic lorry came and parked right in front of the lights, the red man and the green man, so I presumed it was time to cross because he stopped.
Yeah.
And I remember walking and like checking if the light was green, and all of a sudden it just like blacked out.
Really?
Yeah, I remember sliding across the floor as well.
So you was still conscious when you was sliding?
Yeah, for that brief moment I blacked out, and then I gained consciousness when I was sliding along the floor.
Because you actually crossed like a dual carriageway, right?
Like a central reservation.
You actually went from one side to the other.
Well, I was going to, and then I just went and stepped out, and it hit me.
Yeah.
The first thing I remember is I tried to breathe and I couldn't. I was so winded. It took me about 30 seconds to breathe.
Right.
And then as soon as I did, I was like, my ribs are broken. That was the first initial pain I could feel because apparently my ribs punctured my lung as well.
Right.
Okay.
And as soon as I took a breath in, I was like, yeah, my ribs are broken.
Did the lung collapse?
No.
Okay.
When I got to the hospital, initially I didn't look that bad. No scratches, no cuts. My leg was obviously broken, both bones in that. And then I got to the hospital, and then when they did all the x-rays and stuff, I was finished, and then I was laying there, and then I finally met my mum and dad, and then they took them into there's a little counselling room sort of thing, and they said I've got like loads of internal injuries as well as my leg. So I had, my pelvic bone was shattered, my liver was in two, my ribs obviously, lacerations to my lungs, and yeah, it's like I had loads of internal bleeding.
And was this the doctor saying this to you? Did he come?
Not to me personally, but to my mum.
And then they relayed it back to you?
Yeah, but I only found this off like a couple months after.
Okay, so when you was like in the hospital bed, you were quite...
It's part and parcel of being a child in hospital.
Yeah, it was scary.
Because you were 12, right?
Yeah, it was scary.
So you were quite, I don't know if ignorant is the right word to it, but you was unaware of... Of how bad you actually... Yeah, okay.
I realised my leg was broken.
Did you think it was serious, lying there?
Yes and no, because I couldn't feel any pain at first, because like obviously the adrenaline.
Yeah.
But yeah, they lifted my leg up, and I was like, yeah, something's definitely wrong. My ribs was the worst thing, I think.
Was this on the side of the road still? Sorry.
Yeah, this was in the road. But yeah, I was in the hospital for, I think, intensive care for like a week. It was scary at first because I was all on my own. My mum wasn't there. I didn't know what was going on really.
What was the ward like?
It was, the intensive care was better than the other ward. The other ward that I got moved to, there was just someone that did not like needles and would scream every time, get injections. Yeah, there was like 3 people at one point holding her down, and the nurse at one point like nearly refused to give her injections. She was like, "Oh, we've got a baby down in intensive care, and we need to give you injections, so just be quiet and take them." But yeah, apart from that, food was all right, I guess.
Could you actually eat though?
Yeah, I could eat, but every time I was eating, I would just throw it back up as well.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it did change a lot for me. Like before the accident, I was typically the kid that got bullied in the class. I was short.
Really?
Yeah, short, chubby.
I mean, actually, it's funny that because I said that I've got George coming around to my older sister earlier, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I saw he looks quite slim now. He was quite chubby when he was younger." And I went up. I said, "Yeah, do you know what though? I think that's probably more of a growth spurt thing because I think lads do get chubby and then they just kind of grow out."
I did.
Yeah. I mean, I got chubby after I didn't grow.
You've done it the wrong way around. Sure. So something that I'm really interested in that, George, just with a sort of perspective of my own sort of personal life, which we'll get to in a bit, I'm sure, is I know you was only young. Ricky said you was 12.
Yeah.
Perspective on life before the accident, and then perspective on life
After the
accident.
Well, it's changed quite a bit. Like when I was younger, it wasn't good for me. Nothing was going great.
What do you mean though? Like because of the bullying aspect?
Yeah.
I don't know how. Was it because you wasn't confident, or was there just other people, bigger kids?
Yeah, a bit of both really. I was more of like the shy one at school. But yeah, as I grew up, I got a little bit more confident. But yeah, this changed for me. Like I didn't really like going to school when I was younger. I hated it. Every time I'd go to school, I was like, "Oh, who's going to pick on me this time?" Stuff like that. And then after the accident, it changed completely. Like I got taller.
Built-in stilts, did they?
Yeah, I don't know. Was that direct? Maybe you need a car accident.
But yeah, it changed the way I look as well, because I look completely different from like before the accident. But yeah, I think a lot of life now. I take every moment.
What was the period before you went after the accident? When did you go back to school?
Well,
because I know you was in a wheelchair at one point.
Yeah, I was in a wheelchair for a couple of months, and I was bedridden for a couple of months as well. So I couldn't do anything. But it took me like a whole year to fully recover. But it makes me laugh because like a couple of days I went to the hospital to get my leg x-rayed, and everyone was giving me like good news, like it's going well, your leg's healing good. After this x-ray it'll be the last one. I'm like, yeah, great. And I looked at the x-ray and like I could see where it was broken, like my bone was sticking out to the left a little bit. And she's like, "Oh, don't worry, it'll like take time to heal." I was like, "Alright." So a couple of days after that, me and my mates are just talking in school, and they start jumping off this wall.
Oh, I heard about
I'm like, yeah.
Oh, we know what's going to happen.
I can do this, not a problem. So my friend jumped off. Didn't look like he went that far. I was like, cool, my turn. So I've run along this wall, and I've literally leapt as far as I could. And all of a sudden, as I landed, I blacked out, and all I heard was this cracking noise in my head, and it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I jumped off with my left foot and then landed on my right. And as I landed it inwards, and it's just snapped again. And I remember laying there, and the bone kept moving, and it's the most agonising pain I've felt in my life.
It's funny you say that, like the initial pain.
Yeah.
When I broke my leg, but I think it's probably because I had adrenaline, because I was playing football, I went for the ball, put my foot over it to shield it, and the player came through me and snapped my tibia and fibula. I didn't feel pain until a good 5-10 minutes later, and it was when it started getting cold and a bit shivery, and my legs started shaking.
Your ambulance took ages as well.
Yeah, I think I was lying for about an hour.
He was, yeah. I remember phoning the ambulance and they was like, about an hour. I was like, great.
No, but they got lost on the way, didn't they?
No, they had to send somebody from really far away because they didn't have a unit close. That was the problem.
That was one thing, but they actually got lost.
They just didn't know how to get.
My mum saw the ambulance. She was on the way to Tesco's or whatever, and she saw my ambulance actually turn around on the A10.
I know they didn't know how to get into the school because the school was having building works.
Oh, right.
So they wanted to go through the front entrance, which they would have been able to, but they actually had to come back around the rear because they couldn't get through the front.
Yeah. And obviously that's nowhere near as bad, but that I didn't really feel any pain until when they had to shift me and turn me sideways. Obviously, then they were moving my leg and that was hurting. Yeah,
that when they touched my leg, it hurt because they had to put it. They were able to snap it back in place and then lift me up and put
at that very moment.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So I remember.
Oh, Jesus. So you were laying on the floor.
Yeah, I was laying on the floor. They called the ambulance, and the ambulance came. They gave me some gas, and I was on that for a little while. But the medical lady that was at the school, she just kept telling me to take deep breaths in, and I was just not having it. I just kept swiping on my face, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna have to put his leg back," and then they lifted it, and then they like snapped it, and I just screamed out, and then they put the support, and then rushed me back to the ambulance. But yeah, that was annoying because it's like taking me back to square one, sort of.
Yeah.
After a year of healing,
does that hit your mental?
Yeah, that hit me hard a little bit because I was just getting my confidence back.
Yeah.
Because my leg is definitely different from my other one that I didn't break. There's a massive shape difference. Like my right one has like a lump where the plate is.
Right.
And I was just getting back to my routine, and then it just kind of knocked me back.
Did you have to do walking rehab all over again?
Yeah. That was a main recovery thing for me because they told me after I broke it the second time that I might not be able to walk again.
Oh shit! Right.
Yeah.
Was you back in a wheelchair again?
Yeah.
Okay.
For another couple of months. But then they put a titanium plate in there with screws. But yeah, they kept encouraging me every day to like walk up these like little steps they had. They said the quicker you do this, the quicker you can go home. So after like
it's encouragement to get out of hospital, isn't it?
Yeah. So after that, I just pushed myself. Jumping out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I managed to do that a couple of times, and then they gave me the all clear. And then I remember I was at my dad's. I was just sitting there on the end of my bed. I was like, I'm back here again. It's like deja vu for me. It just wasn't nice.
Yeah.
But my family were like the main recovery thing for me as well. They were always there every night at the hospital. My mum did a lot for me when I was in hospital. There is still a risk though that I could break my leg again. But if I do break it with a leg, then it will be serious. Because they told me if I do break it with it, they might have to amputate my leg.
Really?
So at the same time, I'm being cautious with like how I go about things every day.
But you want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because you went into cadets after as well, which is quite a lot of like running around and jumping and climbing and stuff.
Yeah, I was quite good at cadets. I was working my way up the ranks, but every year they would have like this football competition. I'd love it. I always be a part of it. And then one year I got battered really bad. Like I got flipped on my back. I got pushed up against the wall, and then some cadet tackled me from another unit, and it was like right on my plate, and it just hurt.
It's excruciating.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if somebody hits one of the nails or pins, whatever you want to call them, fuck, it hurts.
Yeah.
I remember when I climbed on the sunbed in Tenerife and I put my knee down and I leant on it directly, and you're grimacing.
Yeah.
It fucking hurts.
Yeah.
I'm grimacing. I don't know what it feels like. It sounds horrible.
It just feels like it's grating inside. That's probably the only way to describe it.
That is.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's not funny. It's mad how you've described that you kind of like like when they said you couldn't walk again, and that you were going through confidence issues because you're a very confident young man now. Like you're good looking. You are, and you can run. Fucking when you turn up to go do the 5K that we do park run. When you started running, I was like, this guy was hit by a van 5 years ago. Yeah. How is he pacing me by like a minute, 2 minutes ahead? You could be sometimes. Yeah. Not that I'd let you, but but like when you went off, I was like, Christ, it's just crazy how quickly your body can recover. Yeah. Mindset, physically. Yeah. And it put into perspective me, like I realised how much I've actually damaged my own body through, I guess, drinking and smoking occasionally and other things. Like I should be in my prime at 25. Yeah, I'm getting beaten running by a 17-year-old kid who survived a car accident. Like that's quite mentally shocking.
Yeah. But see, yeah, it is. So, with that then, was it when the accident happened, and you were saying that you was low on confidence before it, and I don't know, but I imagine you might have still been low on confidence after it because you had the rehabilitation process to go through, and that would obviously, probably, I imagine, make you feel a bit shit. Yeah. Once you'd come out the other side of the rehabilitation, and you was all clear, back on your feet after the second leg break, and you could just go about your life again. Was you down at that point, or did your mentality switch?
Yeah.
What happened?
I was quite down for a couple of months still after that, because obviously I had my GCSEs coming up. I was far behind. I had loads of meetings as well, because in total, I think I took a year and a half off, like just to recover, and I was far behind on my work, and I had like loads of meetings with my head teacher saying that it's unlikely for me to pass my GCSEs, and that I need to come after school as well.
I think that's so bad, isn't it?
And that's another thing that's going to put you off.
Yeah, for my head teacher to say that I'm likely to pass my GCSEs, it was like,
what's the point?
Yeah, it's kind of made me like sit back on work really, because I had in my head, I'm not going to pass anyway.
What's the point?
Yeah. But a couple months before my exams, I just studied hard. I didn't get great grades, I have to admit, but I passed.
That's pretty impressive in itself.
Yeah.
So
but as soon as I hit college, I was loving it. It was something different. I didn't really like the school I was going to either, but college came and it was the best thing ever.
So college was the flip point?
Yeah.
College was when it all started.
Can I just ask quickly, when you had the year and a half out, did you feel younger because you'd been out of your own age group for a year and a half? Did you feel less intelligent?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I went into class, I remember it was maths. Maths is the one I struggled with the most.
Same.
And there's all equations on the board. I just looked at myself, for God's sake. Like, everyone was writing, everyone knew the answers, and I just got chucked in the middle of it, and I just sat down and I was like...
Because it was year 7 that you missed, wasn't it?
Yeah, the start of year 8, I got hit when I was 12, so I was like round about year 8.
Right, okay.
And then I broke my leg again in year 9, or just before year 10.
Right, okay.
So literally the very beginning of the GCSE studies.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting with my mum, and she had a letter from my school, and it was when we were picking our GCSEs, and all of my friends were picking PE. I was like, I wanted to do PE, but I couldn't because my leg at the time. So I had to go into a GCSE that I didn't really like.
What did you pick?
Computing.
Yeah.
I didn't do great in that, I have to admit, but... as soon as
you needed a lesson you could sit down in.
See, but this is where I think it's bullshit, because I did PE GCSE. You didn't need to be active. It was more biology, the body. So that aspect is sitting and writing and studying.
Yeah.
And the second part of it was creating a training course and doing a bleep test from basically how do you measure yourself before, what training regime are you going to put in, and what are you going to do after. But you didn't have to do that yourself.
Yeah.
Because of the circumstances, they could have said, use somebody else.
Yeah, you could have had a case study.
Yeah, like that, and that's where they should have helped you out a lot more.
Yeah.
I mean, we had this on with Giuseppe and Aaron, didn't we, talking about schooling and how shit the
System is.
the system is, and
They could have given you another route to get what you wanted, given your circumstances. But yeah, unfortunately, the likelihood of schools doing that is, you know the answer to that question. So
Unlikely.
yeah, very unlikely. Yeah. So with when was the mental flip point then? When did it all change? When did you go from this is shit to actually
college? I think college was my main happiness really. I was doing something that I really enjoyed. The assignments were good. I was getting in on time. But yeah, it was all going well. Had a bit of bad news a year after, like my auntie died. So that set me back a little bit. But after a couple of weeks, I'm back on track now. I've been told that I could do the next level of my course, which I'm happy about. Yeah, it's going well now. Like I'm trying to make every minute count, sort of thing. So I'm doing more sports like running, football, stuff like that. I just recently come back from a snowboarding trip, which was great.
that's good. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, it's really good. I went to Bulgaria.
Yeah. You decent?
Yeah, it's really good.
yeah.
Food is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's going well. I want to travel a lot more. I wouldn't think my injury now is like a setback or a disadvantage. I can still do everything that I used to be able to do. The only thing is I just got to be more cautious about things. I can't be chucking myself off walls anymore.
Yes.
I mean, I was going to ask that. Like, do you feel like it held you back? But I think GCSEs don't actually mean fuck all anyway. Really.
No, I mean, there's always a chance that I could retake them because
Yeah.
I might need to if I want to get into university.
fair.
So there's always that, but at the time it did hold me back a little bit.
I think more probably. I mean, obviously, I'm talking for you, but probably the lack of positivity from the teachers. If they're saying you're not going to pass, you can't do this, you can't do that. Like, if they had been a little bit more positive with you, you might have been more.
Yeah.
A better mindset.
Yeah.
From the off.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because it got to a point where all my teachers would go to my sister instead of me, like, because she used to work there. They would always go to her saying, "Oh, Georgie's behind. He needs to do this. He needs to do that." But yeah, because I couldn't go back to class when I first went to school, I was in like isolation thing.
Sure.
And all they did was give me the work, no explanation. They just, here you go, do it.
See,
I didn't know what to do. Most days I'd just sit there, time wasting, do stuff. Say my leg hurts, go down to the medical lady, and then just sit there for a while. Because it got to that point where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's really hard. So.
Yeah, I mean, we had that, didn't we? And in fairness, it wasn't.
The learning zone.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah.
They put people in there who would have been like yourself. But
It was the opposite, I'm not going to lie. You didn't get any support in there.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You were mixed with the kids that they decided we're not going to get anything out of these.
Yeah.
And they just shoved them in there. People come back from injuries and it was like, well, how do they get extra support? Oh, the learning zone. Stick them in there. But because of the children in there, there was only like a temp teacher in there. There was a substitute, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, it's the same.
They just didn't give a shit.
No.
You know? They didn't know how to teach. They're substitutes. They're not teachers.
It was a bad room to be in. And I was only in there for PE lessons.
Yeah.
The majority of the other kids that were in there were not ones who were in there for legitimate reasons such as yourself. It was more as Ricky said, the teachers could tell that they were a bit of a lost cause and they were just stuck somewhere so that they didn't interrupt the other kids on a day-to-day basis. And yeah, it wasn't a good place. It really wasn't.
How kind of I don't know if this is too personal really, but how low did you kind of get? And the reason why I ask is because I've been really low, to the point where I have considered ending it.
Yeah.
People like you also make me want to end it. But I'll tell you why. Because you've been through something so traumatic and I haven't, I then question myself and go, why do I feel so depressed? Nothing is wrong with me. I haven't experienced anything traumatic. I haven't lost anything. I'm not disabled. I've actually got a lot of things going for me. Actually, I couldn't really point many things out that are wrong with me, really, in the grand scheme of things. Then obviously, so that would play on my mind, and I'd be like, oh, do you know what? If I just finish it, then I haven't got to worry about any of this stuff. Do you know what I mean? But then on the other hand, you're also an inspiration, because when I speak to you and you're at the place where you're at now, I'm like, you know, he went through that or she went through that, and now they're here.
Yeah.
The same with you as well, John.
Yeah.
Because obviously I've been your friend all your life, and maybe I take your stories for liberties, but obviously you've been through.
Yeah,
I mean, you've died and come back to life.
Yes, and see, this is why it was interesting for me to meet George again. I've known George, but I didn't know this happened to George. And so it's interesting for me to get a dynamic of somebody who's been healthy, had something major happen, and then be like quote unquote unhealthy afterwards. Obviously, you're probably, you would admit yourself that you're probably at a place where you're better than you was before the accident.
Definitely.
But do you ever have days where you sort of think to yourself, if I hadn't have had the accident and I'm at the age that I am now, what would I be like? Would I be better at X, Y, Z because I hadn't had that happen?
Yeah, I don't really think like that, to be honest. I mean,
That's
every
good.
time I was in hospital, my mum always used to tell me everything happens for a reason. I know it's not the best thing to happen to like a 12-year-old kid, and I wouldn't want it to happen to anyone really, but...
Really?
Keep
Maybe one or two.
But at the end of the day, it did happen. I have kind of benefited it from the accident, really. But yeah, I do think it's happened for a reason. It's made me more athletic. That's a bit weird to say, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't stop me from doing anything, and it's not going.
So your mindset has kind of gone from a negative one before it to having it happen and then coming out and going, well, I've been given a second chance almost.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I've just got to do everything that I can, apart from jumping off walls.
And obviously, sorry, I didn't get the answer from
Oh
you.
yeah.
But yeah, like I guess on a scale of 1 to 10, like 10 being suicide, 1 being a fucking bunny in the fields.
Yeah, some days I was definitely a 10.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't always happiness and feeling like I've been given a second chance. Like there were some days where I was like, when is this going to end? Like I was in hospital and the pain was excruciating. I couldn't turn or lean. I had to like sit laying straight for ages, because if I leant, they said my ribs could have broken again. But yeah, it was tough, because on top of that I had school to worry about.
It's also, this is a whole different tangent, but like 12, 13 is
that's
sort
a
of
tough age to go through a car accident.
And it's like that age when, well, for me anyway, when you're starting to get interested in the opposite sex, and then for something like that to happen to you, when unfortunately these days so much of that can be about image.
Yeah, that is one of the reasons why, not happy, but it's changed the way I've looked, because if I take a look at what I looked at back then, it's nothing compared to what I look now. Yeah, but I'm going to the gym now, so it's not stopping me, to be honest. I mean, I do get a few pains there from now and then, but other than that, it's all good.
How often do you talk about it? I mean, obviously I called you up.
This is like the first time I've really gone into depth about it.
Really?
Yeah, I've had no one to really talk to. Like my friends I could have talked to. Like one of my best friends now, he was there when it happened. And and he said it was like one of the worst times. But I remember he went around the whole school when I was at home, getting people to sign this like cards out. I've still got it at home, and it. He's got like a little football player with his leg broken. He's like, "This looks like you." I was like, "Oh, thanks." But yeah, he was there a lot when I was got healing, which I really appreciated, because my other friend that was there, she kind of went the other way. She kind of used my accident as an excuse. She was like, "Oh, after seeing that, I can't do this, I can't do that, blah blah blah." But me and my best friend now, I can talk to him about it, but not in depth, because it's done now. But yeah, there was at the hospital, I couldn't talk to anyone. My mum, I can't really talk to, because I don't know, I just find it a bit weird.
Yeah. Did you have a counsellor at all?
Did you have that same issue?
Right. Background?
You're quite close. Yeah, go on.
Background, right. So this is one of the main reasons I wanted to talk to George on this subject, because, as I said previously, you was born healthy, had something happen, and it's changed your mindset. And I'm actually really surprised that you don't have the sort of flip back to what I could have been if that hadn't happened to me. And that's good. That's a really positive mentality, and that's one that I should adopt but struggle to. So and this is the difference between us. I was born with a condition called pulmonary atresia with ventricular septal defect. So essentially, what that meant was, when I was born, I had 2 holes in my heart, and I hadn't developed a pulmonary valve. So when I was really, really young, small baby, I had heart surgery to fill the 2 holes, and they put a metal shunt in place of the valve because I was too small to have a transplant.
Right.
And then when I got to 5 years old, I was finally big enough to have a transplant, so I had an open heart surgery where they went in and removed the metal shunt that they'd put in when I was a baby, and they gave me a human pulmonary valve, a donor valve. And so I have always been ill, so to speak. For me, it's normal because I don't know anything different, and that's why I wanted to talk to you, because you've had the sort of flip side of it. So that's essentially what happened to me, and unfortunately, I do struggle mentally with it. I often think, what would I be like if I hadn't had this? And sometimes I'm grateful for it, because sometimes I think, if I hadn't have had this, would I be a complete dickhead? I'm not saying I'm not now. I probably am a dickhead now, but
sometimes.
Would I have gone way off course? Like, would I have been in a completely different social group in school? Would I have been one of the big kids? Do you know what I mean? Would I have gone down the drug route like a lot of them did? I don't know. I have days where I think like that, and
you'd just be a completely different human being.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think definitely for you, being a year out of school, that could drastically change.
Yeah.
For me,
I was 9 months, my recovery time from my major. When I was 5, I was out for 9 months, but I was 5, so I only missed part of year 1 and part of year 2.
Right.
You missed like a much more serious point of schooling, so that must have been way more difficult.
Yeah, that's crazy, because when I was born like born with a hole in my neck as well.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called, but they when I was born, like fluid kept coming out my neck, and they didn't know what it was. I'm not sure if I had surgery or not, but I've got like this little scar on my neck. But I didn't know that happened to me, and then when I was laid in hospital, my mum turned around and she's like, "You are the worst for injuries." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She got all these pictures of like me with like bandage on my neck. When I broke my arm, I was like, "Oh God, no."
Stop it. You're on. That's snow
sledding.
Yeah. As your own dad, wasn't
I've got to admit, touch all of the wood that I possibly can. And this is a wooden table, just for those of you listening that can't see.
And can hear it tapping on the table.
I haven't broken a bone, and that is something that I really don't want to do. The only things, of course, that have been broken for me is obviously when you have an open heart surgery, they drill through your sternum, and I believe they sort of like screw, for want of a better word, like a vice that pushes your chest apart, and that obviously damages your ribs. So I've experienced the pain of waking up after I say the pain, obviously I had lots of pain relief, but I still remember not being able to take in full breaths because my rib cage just fucking hurt so fucking much. So I kind of empathise a little bit with the rib thing. Maybe not to your extent, because you know yours happened without any. It wasn't planned. That way. Whereas I kind of I didn't know at the time, but obviously looking back, it was planned for me that day that was going to happen. So yeah.
Was you awake through that surgery?
God no.
You was awake through one of them, though?
I've been awake through a more recent surgery, which is just a cardio catheter. So that is where they open an artery in your groin and they feed a camera up through the artery that goes into your heart and into your lungs, so that they can like test different pressures in your artery, test the width of your artery and have a look, because obviously there's cameras at the end to see what's going on. But it's weird because when you have a cardio catheter as a child, they put you out. And when you have a catheter as an adult, they want you to be awake and coherent, because they need you to move. And they need you to do different breathing exercises while it's happening. Like they'll ask you to hold your breath, or to take deep breaths, or to just breathe out. And they'll be like, can you lean to your left? Can you lean to your right? That was a really weird experience, because you're laying flat on a table, you get given localised pain relief for where they make the cut, which was weird as well, because when they cut the artery, I saw my blood splat go across the surgeons, like the little,
tunic.
Whatever it is they're wearing. Like the little apron, that's the word. So that was weird. But even weirder is, above you is TV screens, and you can see where they're. It's really strange. Like you're basically looking inside your own body and watching them move this little camera about, and it's a fucking weird experience. Yeah, this
like technology can be fantastic in that sort of sense,
but it made me feel a bit weird. And I'll tell you what though, one thing that did happen, this is quite funny. I've got a very sarcastic sense of humour, and I think the sort of surgeons figured that out pretty quickly, because very early on, after that initial cut was made, one of the surgeons in the room went, "Are you okay?" And I went, "Do I look okay?" If I was okay, I wouldn't fucking be here, would I? So I've had some pretty funny experiences. I remember, well, I don't remember, but I was told when I was younger, when I was 5 and had the major op, because they have to wean you off of the pain relief that they're giving you, and I believe I was on, from what my dad tells me, a medical form of heroin. And as they was weaning me off of that and I was withdrawing from it, I was asking for it because I wanted some more, basically. And apparently I kicked a doctor in the bollocks because he wouldn't give me any more of this pain relief. So
that's some good shit.
Yeah, that's some good shit. Wish I could still get it. No, I'm kidding. So I've had unfortunately some dark times, and I admit I do feel held back by it. I unfortunately can't be very athletic because I can't run very well at all.
I think you get by though. Like I've played football with you. I mean, your later years. Obviously, I've known you since for quite a while, quite a few years.
Yeah, I was better when I was younger.
I think that's the naivety of your situation, isn't it? And when you get older, like for me, if I'm gonna just put this into an analysis, like when I was a goalkeeper when I was younger, I'd throw myself around on concrete. I wouldn't care. Yeah. You know, if I hurt myself, my body repaired.
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I'm only 25, but throwing myself on the floor just doesn't seem like a great idea anymore, especially on concrete. I wouldn't even recommend doing it on grass.
Yeah. I think what happened for me though was the recovery process from that operation for my original problem, the pulmonary atresia, PTSD for short. So the recovery from the PTSD took a long time, but I got back up on my feet and I got stronger because I had a bigger valve transplanted in so that the blood could move better and I could exercise. I didn't exercise until after that operation, so I'd never played football until I was about 6. That was brilliant. Like, I remember being able to.
Brilliant.
Yeah, well, no, it was brilliant. I wasn't brilliant. I was fucking shit.
I thought you said
No.
I was like, what happened?
It was brilliant being able to do it, and finally like being able to join in with friends and stuff. And yeah, like Rick said, when I got into like my sort of 16, 17,
adolescent years,
we started playing football on a regular basis at the weekends, and I wasn't brilliant, but I was okay. But then I think at about 18, 19...
maybe a bit 20.
No, 18, 19, I was diagnosed with something else.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Pulmonary hypertension, which is it's basically expected with the type of surgery that I had when I was 5. So what's now happened is I've got a localised high blood pressure of the heart and lungs, which I'm on like an oral medicine therapy for to try and bring the pressure down in those artery areas to a safer level. And since I've had the PH, that's when I've noticed the biggest difference in being able to exercise. I don't really exercise anymore, to be completely honest. I can barely run.
I would describe your medicine differently to oral because it sounds like you're giving blowjobs to keep your blood temperature, blood pressure down.
I'm giving blowjobs to tablets every morning.
But you climbed a mountain a few weeks ago. I say it was a mountain. We walked up a hill, a big one.
We went up Penyfan in Cardiff. That was fucking hard, and there was a point at the top where I was like, excuse me, I was feeling really, really lightheaded and dizzy, and I was like, should I be up here? Fucking hell. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a weird situation of I'm very conservative with it, and certain people, Ricky for example, pushed my boundaries, so I would never have climbed a mountain off my own back. Whereas he was like, do it, you'll feel great after it, and I did. I felt fucking brilliant after it, and we've got plans to hopefully go and do another one in Scotland, but I don't know what safe height is going to be for me, because obviously there's a point where the oxygen gets thin, and that'll be fun, a fun experience.
Probably when I can't dial 999 anymore because I ain't giving you fucking
mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fucking want you to either, mate. I know where it's been.
But yeah, no, I think that I do want to do Scotland. I think it's just beautiful up there.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice.
I mean, I think all 4 of us got something out of it. Like for me, obviously I'm in my battle against the civilized world at the moment. Not so well. Just like cities are just taking over, and we're losing our countryside and our ability to go for mountain walks and stuff like that. And to go there, the air was so fresh. I haven't breathed that sort of air in a long time.
It fucking hurt. It was that fresh.
And obviously, like yourself was there. We had Dennis, who's a bigger lad, and he kind of struggled getting. I think it was harder for him coming down, to be fair, but he made it to the top, and he didn't really express too much how much he enjoyed it, but he definitely got an achievement out of it.
Yeah.
And then Jamie was just like fucking lone wanderer. He was off.
He was like power. He could have done that in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Mental. But no, like, so it's interesting for me to talk to somebody else who's had a traumatic experience, and you've come out of it of this mindset of just do what I want. Whereas I do struggle. I won't lie. I won't say I use it as an excuse, but I'm definitely really conservative because of it, and I think it does. I do let it limit me, unfortunately.
I mean, when I broke my leg, I would 9 times out of 10 on a Sunday morning, if I was playing football, be the fastest player on the pitch.
Yeah.
Going from that to one of the slowest players, and maybe I'm not, one of the average players on the pitch, but that was my main attribute to my game, was being pacey, you know, and I lost that. So when I lost that, I think that obviously, it definitely contributed to the depression I was going through, but there were obviously other things going on in my life. It's strange how all 3 of us have had something. Mine is nowhere near as bad as the 2 of yours, but you've been born from birth and you've always had your kind of defects. Sorry if that's
no. It is a defect.
but
I am a defect.
but you've never been able to run fast. You've never been able to be that athletic.
No.
Whereas George, you were athletic. You've gone through it, and you're as athletic. You probably didn't take that much out of you, to be honest.
I think it's made me better in a way.
Yeah.
Like before the accident, if you told me to come on a park run, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I would never have been able to do it like as fast as I could do it now. I wasn't that much of an athletic kid back then. I was chubby, couldn't really do anything. But yeah, it's made me a lot more sporty. It's made me like sports a lot more as well.
Yeah.
Now that I'm able to do them, it's like similar with us two. Like I used to play football, like kick about, but not proper. In school, I'd never play it because I'd just never get picked.
Like competitively, you mean?
Yeah. At school, no one would want to like play football with me. It's only since year 11 that people started to see that he's all right. So, I mean, I haven't been playing football for that long, but it's good. I enjoy it. I enjoy life a lot more than I used to. I can say that. Like 100%.
I've got a question I want to ask. It might be a bit of a deep subject, but I think if it is for you, you're over the hump because Ricky said that you've recently got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
And you've admitted previously in this interview that you've got a bit of a deformity of the leg that you broke a couple of times. I've got obviously a deformity on my chest. I've got a couple of scars and I'm a bit twisted in the old rib cage, having it pulled open and whatnot. And that's affected me. It didn't affect me so much when I was younger. So when I was 5 and it happened, I was just a 5-year-old who didn't really understand what happened. Yeah. It's only as I've got older and you get more sort of social pressure of a way that you have to look to be accepted by society, and obviously you put pressure on yourself to look good for girls. That just happens, and I have had the unfortunate experience in the past of being dumped for having this sort of chest deformity, and that sort of stuck with me mentally, and I struggled to sort of I take a while to sort of open up to a woman. So for me, like a dating process would be quite slow. Like I'd have to trust them, explain to them what had happened to me, because I don't know why, I just feel like I have to sort of justify myself to them. I probably don't, but I just feel like I need to let them know what they're going to expect, because in the past, when people have seen it and they're not expecting it, the reaction hasn't been great. So I just wanted to get your sort of take on what happened to you when you reached that sort of age where you wanted to get into dating. Was you...
similarly, like my leg did not look normal. Like it was all swollen. I got this massive scar down my leg and I just didn't want to show my legs.
Really? See, when I had scars, I thought they were cool.
Yeah, I realise that now. Like, I just embrace it. Like, I've got a scar on my leg. It's cool. But with scars, there's always like a story behind it. So I can say, yeah, I was hit by a van. I survived it. I'm lucky. So
Yeah.
Should have seen the other guy.
Yeah. But yeah, I still have that feeling now. Like when I go to the gym, I don't really want to wear shorts. If I can avoid wearing shorts, I will. Because I just don't look like the look of my leg at the minute. But
is that more in competition with other guys in the gym? You wouldn't want a big lad to see your leg, or is it with women? Or is it the women?
Both really, but okay. Like similar to you, I kind of had to explain myself a lot.
So you just try and avoid the small talk.
Like what I do, I tell someone I've had this on my leg, I've got a scar on my leg. If I tell you I can't do it, I can't do it.
Yeah.
If they don't want to listen, I just say, alright, like go about my day. But me and my girlfriend at a stage now that she understands my limits. She knows when I'm struggling with my leg. But yeah, she's 100% supportive on my leg, and the look of my leg doesn't bother her, which I'm really glad about because it did with some girls.
That's so sad though, isn't it? That the image is that much. Like, yeah, he's so
I'm going to
sad.
go back to instinctual behaviour. Like, everybody's looking for a partner.
Yeah, no, I understand.
And you're looking for the most healthy partner you can possibly get to spread your gene and to have the healthiest child. And if you have an anomaly like that on your body, it will naturally turn you off.
Yeah. No, I completely understand that. And then there's always that in my head as well that I know what I've been through and I know what life is like with this condition. And if I was to find a partner and have a child, which to be honest is what I want to do eventually, there's always that in the back of my mind of I really don't want to give my child this problem.
Yeah, whereas you can't pass, you've got nothing to worry about really there.
No, it's good. Sounds like you've got a lot of acceptance between you.
Yeah.
I guess that's just what I'm looking for. But it just takes me a very long time to feel confident enough with a person to get to that sort of stage. And I've had multiple occasions where I've got to that stage where I feel ready to sort of accept them completely, and then it will fall to shit from their part.
I've never actually asked you this before, but have you ever actually looked for girls with the same condition as you?
No, no, I haven't.
I don't, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. Like
no, these forums exist.
You'd be accepting.
Honestly,
of them, like you both get tired together.
We could both take tablets together, and asthma pills together.
How organised your life would be.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point, but then I guess I'm guilty of the point that you just made.
Instinctive behaviour.
Yeah, instinctual behaviour. Like, I these forums exist. So in hospital, you do get to that age where they start talking to you about that sort of stuff. It happens. You get what's called like a transition counsellor. So when you're going from paediatric, which is the child department, to adults, they give you all these leaflets about sex and all that sort of stuff. And they give you these forums for people of your own sort of age. You can join the forums and you can start talking to each other, and they exist within the sort of transition period, and they exist in the adult. So, for example, there's a pulmonary hypertension sort of forum, or like some sort of hospital-made social media for people with PH that I've been invited to join by my hospital, and I haven't. And I guess it comes back to my own sort of perception of myself is I had the choice when I got to about 19, 20 to either go down the disability route and claim disability living allowance and not have a job, or try and get a career. Because I won't lie to you guys, like, you may not realise it, but just going to work for a full working day for me is very tired. I often go to work, come home, have a nap, and then carry on with my evening, because I find things that you guys would probably just see as a normal day quite tiring.
Yeah. I mean, I get tired as well, and I often fall asleep on the train on the way home. But it's not the same.
No, it's a different tired. You kind of threw me off where I was going.
Sorry. You get tired on normal tasks.
Yeah. So yeah, and that was it. That was where we was going. So I just didn't want to be labelled disabled. Basically, is what it comes down to. I was given those two choices of lead the social norm life of going and getting a job, or having a disabled badge, claiming disability, living allowance, and being at home all the time. And I didn't want that. So I've gone down the job route, and I guess that because I didn't want to label myself as disabled, I also don't want to label myself as disabled when it comes to dating.
Yeah, I get that.
But then on the flip side of it, I do feel like I have to justify myself to the other person.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a weird one, unfortunately. But yeah, it comes back to your point, the instinctualness. I sort of look for the best woman I can, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I won't delve into this too much, but definitely the instinctual behaviour of a human being, we try to push that to the back of our mind so much with so many aspects of life, whether that's going to be the likes of topics such as racism, sex, and literally everything, to walking down the street, public social anxiety. It's not normal to walk down the street with hundreds of thousands of people. We're tribes people, really. We're supposed to live with maybe 100, 200 people max. And even then, an argument would break out and the tribe would split into two. I think, when you start looking at relationships, people might call you shallow. That's certainly something I went through, but now I just kind of shrug that off and I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like, it's not all about looks, 100% right, but fuck me, is looks a massive thing. Literally, never judge a book by its cover, but you need to look at the cover. It needs to be aesthetically pleasing to even look at or read the book and go into it.
I completely accept that somebody's got to be sexually attractive, for you to want to be in a relationship with them. But I guess I'm quite lucky, or maybe not so lucky. Well, no, lucky. I'm lucky that you can't tell what's wrong with me by looking at me.
Yeah.
You can't.
No, I can't.
Fuck off. You can't. Unless you see me topless, you wouldn't know.
Seen that a few times.
Yeah. Let's not go into that.
No, there's anything wrong with highway, but...
So yeah, you wouldn't know, and I guess that's the reason why I feel so, insecure about it maybe, or not very confident about it, because somebody might see me and think, I'm going to sound really big bollocks here, but somebody might see me and think, yeah, he's alright, he looks alright, he looks like a healthy bloke.
Yeah.
But then the minute that flips and it becomes like an intimate relationship and they see you undressed, and then they can see that I'm not a healthy bloke. I've had some bad experiences of that moment in the past, and they've stuck with me mentally, and they make it more difficult for me to accept somebody these days. But I get what you're saying on the flip side. Instinctually they're looking themselves for, they're looking for somebody decent to procreate with, reproduce with, They want the best for their kids too, and that's understandable. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I just have to find somebody with the same level of acceptance as you found.
Yeah, but, going back to that, there was, one time when I had, a scare. I was out and then my girlfriend came round and she was talking to my mum and obviously she was trying to explain to her the situation with my leg, and I've walked in, and my mum, I just walked in onto the point where my mum was like, the doctors gave him 72 hours to live, and then she looked at me like shocked. I was like, oh no, I hope this doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
So I sat down with her, I was talking to her.
Wait, is this the same girlfriend?
Yeah.
So she was with you when you... Sorry, what was the 72 hours?
Oh, so basically when I was in hospital, like a couple months ago, I found out that the doctors gave me 72 hours to live with all the internal injuries and that.
Right, this is when it obviously happened.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise you was with her that long.
Oh no, I wasn't with her, I just got with her 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Because George was paediatric, so
Yeah.
child in hospital, they don't give the child the information, they give the parents
Yeah.
the information because they don't want to scare the child.
Yeah, but I only found out recently that I had.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm with you. Sorry.
So yeah, she looked at me and was like,
Different world, mate.
Yeah.
Different world for you. You don't know what we're talking
No,
about.
it really is though. It's quite hard to someone to comprehend like what you're saying
Yeah.
sometimes.
but yeah, so I spoke to her and like I was kind of panicking. I was like, I hope this doesn't change anything. I hope you like don't lose feelings for me, blah blah blah. And she just like calmed me down and said it's not going to change anything basically. It was like just a sigh of relief there. I was like, oh, good.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
We have had some funny stories though. I carried you up a hill in Magaluf.
You did, because I couldn't make it up the hill.
Don't worry, John, I'm in the army. I wasn't. I was in the territorial
TA.
for 1 year.
Yeah.
I fucking pussied out of that.
And then you was vomiting at the top,
Yeah.
all over the floor.
Made a little halo around myself.
You did. You look very pretty.
Hey,
You look like that Team America scene.
I can't remember what was it.
When you stick all over the floor and then lays in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty much you. After carrying me.
I can't understand how I actually puked in a perfect circle around my head. Like it was like, do you know when you die or someone gets murdered and they sprayed a white paint around somebody? That was literally me, but with my puke. Nothing on me, maybe a bit of flex in my hair, but like just a perfect circle around my head. Massive pointy bit for my nose.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a weird one because I come back to the hotel with you, obviously, because you had to carry me up the hill.
You had to walk back down it and come back up again on your own.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't even know how we got to that. Maybe I was the one going home, and then when we got to home, you threw up.
No, we were talking. We got to the top and we said, "Well, where's James? Should we just leave him or should we go look for him?" And I think at that point I'd kind of blacked out and I was throwing up, and you were just like, "I'll go out on my own."
No, because you wasn't sick till we got to the hotel room.
That's what I mean.
I put a bag over your ears.
Yeah, but I was meant to go out with you to get James.
Oh, right.
And then you said, "I'll go on my own."
That's it, and I put you to bed, and I got rid of your initial vomit, and then when I came back, you was in the middle of the hotel room, puddle of vomit around your head. It's fucking weird. Yeah, I've had some good experiences. Like that's probably the thing that I do wrong though. Like they told me that I shouldn't drink very much. I do. Yeah, I probably do all the things I shouldn't.
I think it's almost like, the bucket list.
Yeah.
Make a bucket list before you kick the bucket. You still got to live life.
Mate,
to
I've kicked the bucket. This is bucket number 2.
Well, you've got to, you've got to live. You can't. There's no point in you being alive if you're just going to sit at home in recluse.
Oh, well, I don't.
Exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't want to have that label against me and just be a nothing essentially. Yeah.
Well, cool. I think that's conversation over. So, like, what I want to do, what I'm doing with my guests is we do like a conclusion thing at the end, or something we didn't even talk about at all, but you thought, oh, actually, I'd like, Rick invited me onto the podcast. Is there something I would have liked to talk about, but I didn't get to quite talk about it?
Just if this goes out to everyone, like if they're in a situation where they're either healing from something or recovering from something, like the worst thing to do is think negative. It is hard not to, but make sure you like surround yourself with positive things. I'm quite lucky in the sense that family was really supportive, and I had them to kind of lean on when I had my leg. But positivity is quite surprising how far it will take you. Yeah, that's it really.
Be positive.
Be positive.
Be positive and do things you like.
Yeah. Well, there's a lesson to us all, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thank you for listening. This is the Water Closet podcast, and I would like to get some of your questions, like how do I deal with this? How do I do that? Or societal questions. What do you think of this? Get our opinions on certain things. Can we help you out if you need advice, or can we give our opinions on something that you are wondering about? And you can email podcast@thewaterclosetblog.com, or you can comment at the blog itself, and it can be found on all good podcasting websites, Spotify, Google podcasts, and iTunes and that. And yeah, till the next time, thanks for listening.